Yo, what's up, chat? Welcome back to ETF2L Season 50, the Big 50 Summer Season 2025. It's a quiet one, but covering it nonetheless. It's the third week. Official this time we're going to be looking at is between the Czech team of czuraci. That's probably not how that's pronounced, but I will not apologize at all. And then also the other team, which is called My Project, I believe. It's going to be an interesting one, perhaps. Tonight, I am joined, as Cerny, by One on the mic and Stu on production. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yo, this is my third night in a row casting, by the way.
Hell yeah, dude.
Got a lovely ping in Discord earlier today from JMax at a bright, I think 12 p.m., which is about when I woke up. And yeah, it asked me if I wanted to cast. And thankfully, my semester's over, but none of my friends' semesters are over, so I have nothing happening in my life. That means I have plenty of time to cast competitive Team Fortress 2. I'm actually very curious to see what happens tonight for this game, because this is a really interesting matchup in the sense that, I feel like this season, so far, I've only casted Aragosta games, and finally get to cast a game that's not an Aragosta game. But on top of that, czuraci have simultaneously been looking really, really good. But, sort of, now I think, this sort of level that czuraci have to play up against now versus My Project is just a bit higher, right? I think this My Project team is slightly keen. We'll have to see what happens, right? I think this has potential to be a good game. Also, we're in a map that I've never casted before, Sonny.
You've never gotten to see Sultry before at all?
Nope.
I mean, I don't know any of the callouts, but because I've never played it. But at least I know what the map looks like on a basic level. But yeah, that's gonna be our map one is Sultry, which is an interesting choice pick, I suppose. Honestly, I'm surprised we're even seeing My Project play this week and not just wait another week for Doey's ban to expire before they just fast track all their officials for the season. But I guess they were keen enough, or maybe they got some pressure to just finally play a damn game. Either way, they are gonna have Patchouli subbing in on that medic role in the meantime, right? It's a slight roster change, I suppose. Does it matter much? I don't know. Probably not. They're probably about equal in terms of skill if we're going to talk about stuff like that, right? So I doubt it matters much. Yeah, I mean, looking at the rosters as well, I think just in terms of experience from Prem, right? Obviously, this Czech team has Lucas, it has some experienced players, but at the end of the day, I feel like in terms of overall experience, My Project should have this, right? You'd think they would.
Yeah, I think, overall, I think you look at this My Project team, and you would expect sort of a bit more sort of, at least team cohesion, right? These are all players that are very, very experienced, know how Prem works at a top level. I think if there is copium for czuraci, you have to look at this team, and the way that they beat Aragosta pretty handedly was it was a two-man show of SNH and Lucas coming together and absolutely destroying Aragosta. Really just didn't have an answer, because Lucas was playing insane as he's come out Hyperbolic Time Chamber, beating all the Americans up with an OP weapon, and now he's back in Europe. He has a little bit of training weights on again, and that he's not allowed to use the lock and load, but he was absolutely giving it to Davey, who in turn, I watched last night, absolutely give it to some other opponents. I think that's beautiful.
Maybe developing itself. Maybe rock, paper, scissors, Who knows where it's going to take us by the time playoffs come? I mean, is it going to still be 4 teams in the playoffs this season? I would assume so. So, less teams fighting for the spots, I suppose, might make it interesting. Are we going to see the Demo Knight in playoffs in Prem? Who knows? Or have they even won a match this season so far? I don't know. Either way, we're getting started. We don't have to talk about other teams. It's going to be czuraci in the blue versus My Project in the red. Taking it onto Sultry as our first little map and seeing who can come out on top come the next 30 minutes or something like that. I suppose we'll see which team gets the first little punch here on the mid-fight.
It's a equal opportunity rollout here for both demos as they're sort of looking to spam out enemy combo on both sides. A decent aggro actually that Lucas has, playing really, really safe onto that staircase. Gets decent damage early onto Vanu, who now actually has to play super far back. This is a very passive mid from both sides, as neither soldier is really electing to go forwards quite yet. You see KN playing in downstairs as well, waiting for some kind of an opportunity to bomb, but honestly right now, this is 2 demo men spamming logs, but SNH has a bit of a forward position, and that's going to prompt Jordy to come in. Really nice rocket there onto Blair, actually, as his nation falling in the backside now, as Coling bombs forwards, trying to deal with this scout aggression out of Vanu, is going to pay for it with his life, and that means that now Breeze falling as well. It's only 3 up. Ubercharge available for Blair, but that is an enemy team looking to push right in onto second.
Yeah, they're taking this forward straight away on the side of my project. They want to make sure the sect is pressured out as best they can as well. Lucas not given any ground either to cover much at all. No Hail Mary pipe to hit anything much. I mean, KN gets denied from bombing out. Eventually gets cleaned up by SNH as well. The second soldier pushing forward with Jordy here trying to cover up some ground. And they do secure second in the meantime. They manage to get it down. And there's the fucking drop onto Blair immediately as well. They're just going to keep this rolling forward off the back of that. No shot, they don't.
Such a nice play from Jordy, getting that Uber out of the way from Blair, and now this is a massive disadvantage here for czuraci. There are 3 players dead as well, and there's just no positioning at all on the second point, and now it's a blast! Freeze! Oh my god!
Good lord, alright, well that's gonna be a great equalizer immediately. They're still 2 down, mind you, on last turn. There could be a little more pressure coming in, ALX far, and at least peeking forward a little bit, but that's the push denied immediately. Beautiful play by Breeze, getting Pachuli's Uber out of the equation, keeping the team in this. Now czuraci find themselves with a bit of an ad themselves, get themselves back out to second as well, and maybe even a chance to get into mid if they can keep this up. Jordy did go down as well, so they're down a player trying to defend this midpoint. It can only get better for czuraci if they can keep this pressure going, keep their players alive and well as they make their way forward into mid now. And yeah, my project don't seem too keen on holding this very aggressively. A little bit of a bomb across the point here, but that's KN just paying with his life. Jordy gets across as well, trades himself out for Lucas at the very least. The power pick for sure, but is it enough to hold onto this mid forever?
SNH has so much presence there. There's about a 20 ad, and that means that my project really have to respect it, right? Like with that 20 ad, if SNH is that close, you're still trying to fight him, the Uber gets popped, and suddenly you just cannot respond to an Uber charge at all. It is actually czuraci looking to try and play with this, a bit of an advantage that they do have. They're taking a lot of space here onto second as well. My project not in a very good position to really deal with this. Now Pachuli does come out with a scout Uber trade, but that is Blair not popping at all, and Misha Nation in on the backline, getting that kill onto ALX, and now no Demoman for the side of my project. This is really scary for them. Counter aggression can come forwards now for czuraci, but they're just not winning the fight. Everyone falling in these 1v1s, and it is all onto Lucas and SNH here. 2-star carries for this team, but that's a bow onto Lucas, and I think he's going to have to back off here.
Interesting. They put so much pressure onto my project, got the Uber out of them as well, didn't use their own, paid 3 players for it in the end, I suppose. 3 players traded for an Uber, but at the end of the day, it puts them in a wonderful position to just re-aggress right away. They're back in already, very aggressively, and they might still not have to use unless there's a lot of pressure onto Blair here, which doesn't appear to be happening, so they're just going to get the second point for free off the back of it. Now have an Uber in store for last, and if they're fast enough, maybe get a couple frags. Not gonna clean up that frag onto Varno, he lives with 2 health. But still, they have that Uber ad regardless. They can still get into this last point. The sentry's taken care of immediately as well. Players pressure into spawn. The Uber comes out for the check side as well. Now they just got to get that cap time down eventually, or maybe find some frags. They got Jordy at the very least. Varn with heavy finally taken care of as well. There you go. The frags have fallen in their favor. Oh, it's almost there. Just a little bit more cap time, but the Uber comes out for Pachuli. ALX is going to have to solo this against 2 players. His respawners are going to take a while to be there. And it's Breeze and Lucas laying down the damage, laying down the pain, and he can't get on the point in time. That's going to be finally a little bit long, but a little bit prolonged. The final point there going the way of czuraci, 1-0 up in under 5 minutes.
Vanu had like one sort of last-ditch effort there, hiding in onto that flank side, trying to get in onto Blair, get the force out on second before they use the advantage into last. They actually stalled for a decent amount of time. czuraci just waiting for their 3 spawners to push in, because my project just give them second for free. They're allowed to take that Uber straight in onto last, so they just barely managed to convert as well. Trying so hard to hold on there as my project. Fortunately, not quite enough. And now we're back onto mid. There's early damage onto Lucas this time around. Blair eating a bit of a sticky as well.
Could be perhaps some earlier aggression out of my project. This time they were looking lethargic last round, so maybe some more initiative on the mid fight this time could suit them well as they're slowly making their way forward. Lots of positioning. They certainly have a lot more ground to cover than the check side does. Jordy gets in deep as well, but no frag falling his way just yet. He gets cleaned up eventually instead. And there's AF going down. They do find the frag onto Lucas at the very least in the end, but Varnu pays his life as well, and it's just 3 players left for my projects. They're already running out. SNH on the chase as well, and that medic, which really looking a little low. That's a soldier getting cleaned up as well with KN taken down. Alex trying to score this medic out. They will escape to last, but it's another pretty symbolic mid for my project.
Yeah, there's a really nice chase coming in from czuraci as well, just acknowledging that these players are split and not with that medic, and they can take so many extra frags, allowing them to take second for free. Otherwise, they might have been facing a sort of second fight. Now, it's Colin with a super early bomb in, trying to get up and in before that sentry gun comes up, and instead is a very nice heavy up for the side of AF, and that means that now with the Soldier frag coming in, 2 players falling, that means czuraci have to back off here because my project, they're looking to push in maybe a little bit. Get a sack in.
Yeah, there's a soldier bomb coming in. Unfortunately, it doesn't accomplish much, but at least Jord doesn't go down, and there's Lucas taken care of once more. They find the most important target, and they do take care of it every single time. Now they're gonna keep this one forward. Oh no. Blur dies anyway. Gets just chipped by AF. Doesn't matter though. Nation, Nation just headshots for Shuli. Just see which one sniper just headshots for Shuli. It doesn't even matter.
No one has an Uber. It feels like there's a gentleman's agreement between both of these teams where, like, if one medic drops and the other one will drop as well immediately after. Really nice shot there from a Nation coming in clutch and ensuring that everything doesn't go to shambles. And that must be such a tilter for my project. They sort of find themselves with a massive advantage once again, but immediately snatched away from them now. So Sniper on Nation, I wonder how he deals with this. These sightlines aren't that insane trying to comment onto second, but Patchouli has to watch out and clearly needs to respect it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not as familiar with the map, right? It is Sultry at the end of the day. It's only been in the pool for a few seasons. People always ban it, so the fact that it's being played at all is already a surprise. Okay, Jordy's gonna have the sniper's number there. Lucas also gets cleaned up by AF. They're actually getting a lot of pressure onto this combo now. Blair's gonna have to back up for the rest of the team as well, and AF is already there to do even more damage. Lead the charge. Breeze can't quite get in to do anything either. And with him down as well, that is a converted midpoint now for my project. They're gonna keep this going forward. They don't have Uber just quite yet, but they're also 3 players up. Okay, well now just 1 if the respawn is coming in. But still, they're gonna be able to get the second fairly easily as well. And with these czuraci players kind of caught out of position, perhaps even trying to be ambitious for a flank play, which didn't really quite go their way. I mean, the point got capped. Now they can clean up, I guess. They do it, Varnu, and now they have to worry about people behind. Kayan gets cleaned up. People still in the second. They're just all disconnected. They have to just cut their losses at this point, I think.
Such a weird push, right? It's Blair and SNH on a flank, sort of Uber push in of a lifetime now. Massive advantage here for Patchouli, but he's down 2 players. And that means that he has to back off a little bit, at least respect czuraci somewhat. But look at the damage they're eating, trying to get onto that point, right? It's so hard for them to stay in, but now it's czuraci just trying to stall for as long as possible. Nation's hiding in a corner. He's looking for Patchouli once again.
Really wants that frag, wants to utilize it. Or just a back cap. I mean, there's a lot of cap time already. That's gonna pull them out of this last push immediately. Uber's popped for my project and they can't accomplish a thing with it. It's completely nullified. No problem there. Gets that cap finished off. That's all you gotta do in that situation. You don't have to go for anything bigger than that, and there's already a lot of aggression in as well. They find ALX. There gets cleaned up eventually though. There's no Uber now in play. Even if they are gonna have any form of advantage, it doesn't matter. And Kayan does the same thing, just on the other side. Goes for the back cap, cleans up SNH as well, and there you go. Makes it the equalizer.
Jordy finds that kill onto Blair with 99% Uber, just barely unable to pop that through, and with that heads-up play, Kayan getting in behind on the flank. My project make it look pretty messy, to be honest, but they managed to tie us up 1-1. So now go back into middle. These mid-fights have been weird. They've been very, very passively, and it feels like at one point, just one team kind of folding after they lose their flank. No soldier bombs so far have been very successful. Both teams looking to turn that around right now, and Lucas once again in quite slowly.
A little bit faster than his counterpart though. Getting Alex kind of just locked down for a little while before he finally gets healed up, but still taking a while to get that demo back on full health. It's just kind of a disadvantage battle out already, and you can see it in positioning as well. They're a lot more passive this time around again. My project just waiting. The soldier bombs come across eventually, but they just get denied around the corner immediately. Can't do anything. That's Varnu taking care of. Jordy's also dangerously low. ALX gets cleaned up eventually as Misha just charges across the point. There's Jordy taken care of. They only find Colding as a little consolation kill in all of that, and well, I don't think it's gonna matter much when they lose mid and probably have to, well, at least give up second in a disfavorable position. Yeah, they're just gonna go to last straight away. There's so much pressure from czuraci. They're already on second. Lucas is in lobby, just making sure nobody's there. They're gonna wait for the 1 scout to cap that, and they're gonna be straight on to last. Now, there's gonna be equal Ubers here, so it can't be that quick. And the sentry's getting built as well. Breeze gets taken down as he's trying to be aggressive, so things may slow down a little bit, even as Jordy tries to do a counter sack. And maybe, just maybe, this could be the first proper stalemate.
Yeah, now it's even Ubers for both teams. 1 player down a piece as well. So this is giving Varnu plenty of time to set up this sentry gun, which is, like, I'm not going to lie, very Snake Water-esque in terms of its effectiveness. Super, super hard to deal with it. There's just not really much of a line, right? Instead you have this demo who can sit, spam, stickies rather, in through main there. But it is just so hard, right? SNH is up on a scout, but this is Nation now. Up on the sniper instead.
It's worked before. He can get an angle into last year. That's a nice little headshot run off immediately there. That's going to open things up a little bit as well as Jordy has to back off. Now the sniper gets a deeper angle. I can't quite line up the headshot though onto anything. Even if it was the engineer, that would have spelled doom for the Sentry. That being said now, sniper out of the equation opens things up a little bit for my project here. That's a lot of people to look at for KN and nobody to kill, unfortunately. But still, yeah, probably was salving at the mouth a little bit at the opportunity there, potentially, as Jordy is going to be the sack out instead, and you're going to have to wait on last again. And he's just going to commit to the sniper. Nation's going to stay on that. Gotta respect it. It's certainly something that could bust this open for them, as Jordy, maybe he's just checking, but maybe he's actually going to commit to the spike play. Who knows?
He's definitely just checking and making sure the Nation is... whether or not he's still on that sniper spots it out, then that means that nothing really changes. You can see where Pachuli's holding, right? This is such a difficult angle for Nation to come in. Jordy actually sacking in early as well, right?
Maybe trying to make sure that the sniper doesn't get too much ground, but can't quite get him, and now they're going to just slowly have him peek around this corner again, which... Well, this is the angle you want to peek from if Pachuli's in that position, right? As soon as he opens that door and Pachuli is not behind the rock, then this could be very dangerous for them indeed. Unfortunately for them, though, on the side of czuraci, Lucas gets taken care of as well, and immediate aggression, just make sure nobody else is left aggressively. They're going to have to back off, wait this one out, and see if anybody on my project wants to be keen, wants to be aggressive, but they're probably very content just going for the round reset here. Stay on last, just, you know, enjoy yourself, wait for a bigger mistake to come out of the Czech side.
Yeah, this was such a difficult last to push out of. The choke points are so tiny across the board. You really need a big, massive advantage to be able to really convert onto either side, to be honest. This Sentry Gun, so powerful as well. So you're just kind of banking everything on this Nation Sniper, who once again, you also, like, this is another thing why I don't really like this map that much. There's like one angle, and it's the one that the Nation is taking, right? But KN just posted up right where he is on that staircase, makes it so difficult for him to do anything, right? So hard for him to actually peek in. And you can't aggress soldiers in either, right? Because the Sentry shuts them all down, and you're just now kind of full. KN getting a bit aggressive, but there's so much damage onto Lucas. That means we just have to rotate back a little bit.
So it's a curious one, because, yeah, like, they can't really switch up too much of the sniper angles, because they're not going to get anything. They're not going to be able to see anything. I'm sure the sniper gets spotted so much sooner. And it's just a matter of, can he somehow sneak in there, line up the hero shot? Jordy's got his number, though. Shut down that sniper. At this point, I feel like czuraci should cut their losses. That sniper isn't going to work on that side, at least, and it's going to require a whole village to make it work, so should probably try to switch it up, try something else, try something a little bit new, and at least going to go back to cookie cutter for the time being. Perhaps some different offcastes coming out if this still doesn't work. And at this point, you know, the clock's ticking down as well. They got 90 seconds to try and do any sort of push here, or it's just going to be a round reset at this point. There's very low chances there's going to be a push out by my project. KN going down obviously maybe opens things up a little bit for a second, but it's still nothing. That Pyro's completely bunkering up the Sentry as well. It's going to be so tough to get anything done here.
Yeah, we're probably going to be seeing a push, just sort of a Hail Mary come in the next, like, 20-30 seconds. As a round timer sort of runs out, you hit the point where the enemy team can't even realistically push out. Then even, like, to be honest, like, barring a full wipe on this side of czuraci right now, I think we're nearing the time with only a minute left. He was just going to come straight in, and it's going to take down Jordy as well as the Sentry Gun out of Anu, but no position at all gained as this Pyro of AF just shoving everyone out of that last point. Is now Lucas trying to re-aggress a little bit. The Sentry Gun is being rebuilt by Banu a little bit further back. The Soldier Bomb can come in onto AF and reflex that rocket onto Breeze. Does finally get taken down, but KN with a really nice rocket onto Cooling as well. Means that this is absolute mayhem. Sentry Gun can just be dealt by Lucas, who is going to run forwards here with Nation on his back as well, as Lucas can just set up onto the point, but Jordy taking him down means it's only Lucas left alive, is going to be taken down, and now Blair running for the hills. The Hail Mary push does not work, and they're maybe even trying to catch him out, and maybe my project, if they can get this medic frag, they can't.
Nope.
Now there's a real question. You can see Vanu immediately bucking, like sort of backing off of the second. They know they can just sit back on last for another 10 seconds. But there's no reason to push this out, whatever. But this is giving time. You can see czuraci looking to just go in anyway.
They got it. They have no chance. I got to get a little bit of cap time down. You can get a little bit of overtime out of the round timer, and there you go. That's going to delay it a little bit longer, but they're not going to be able to get to that point in time. That Barnu Heavy is just denying any and all ground that could possibly be covered, and there you go. It's going to be a stalemate. We're going to head back to a mid-fight instead. The round reset underway, and, well, I mean, that's Sultry last for you. They held it pretty well on the side of my project, but maybe czuraci also not really trying too much, right? Very committed to the sniper for 3.5 minutes and not really getting anything out of it. Perhaps should switch it up sooner, but hey, whatever. New mid-fight, new chances. They've been winning these on the side of the Czechs so far, these mids, so things are probably looking good for them. Lucas again a little bit faster than ALX here, gets a bit more aggressive positioning as well, right at the start of the fight. It's going to be down to how the rest of the team, my project, can follow up. That's a big, deep soldier bomb there by Jordy. Kane also dueling his counterpart here. Was it? Yeah, Kane actually, that's in deep. And they're trading out players left and right. It's a massacre out there in the meantime. Everybody's going down, and it's looking a lot better for my project. Blair dangerously low, but somehow living for the time being. Still with Coling as the sole protector of this medic, and still alive somehow as well. Blair staying in there, staying alive. It's a lost mid for the Czechs, but they salvage it by the skin of their teeth.
Such nice play from Blair there to actually manage to get out. So scary. And I really like the switch up there on the mid from the side of my project. Much faster, much more aggressive mid from the side of KN. But it's only 3 players up on this second here. AF has high ground, has an ALX to support him as well, but no further teammates really around. And that means that now it's just AF in onto the solo. Comes onto Lucas as well, but this is SNH finding Jordy on the sidelines. Trades coming across the board, and 2 players falling with this Uber just onto Lucas, but now caught in no man's land. He's going to fall and pay for that with his life, but look at these players funneling in through choke. It's only Coling left up on the second, and when... Okay, Sonny, here's the thing. I realized that I had never casted a Sultry game, even though it had been around for like 2 seasons. Never had to think about it at all, and I sat down with someone who has played the map, an American, not actually American, a Canadian, plays RGL. Grape Juice III, who told me about Sultry, and I asked him, how do you push this loss point? And he offered me this. The best way to push Sultry loss is wiping the enemy on second.
Yeah, no, that actually pretty much computes with everything I've ever seen out of this map. I think the best way teams have ever converted around on this is just getting everybody down on second. That being said, it didn't really do that. Couldn't really get the momentum going, so Varna's going to go for the spy play into last year instead. Unfortunately, he's on normal invis watch, so he's forced to decloak in a very suboptimal position. That being said, maybe the bush is enough camouflage while it recharges. Nobody's seen him. Nobody's heard him decloak. He bumps the NG, but he gets the stab anyway.
Really
Alright, yeah, gets the gun.
I'm not gonna lie, that spy, when you have that big of an advantage, I guess he wasn't aware of it when he spawned, but that is now because of that spy, right? It makes the push so much harder. K-Yad wants to go in, get onto Blair, and he does not quite get it. That means that now Uber advantage fully gone, but we're just going to keep on sacking in players looking for Blair, but Blair just safely posted up and spawned. Vanu falling as well. This is everyone falling on that red side, and that means that they're just going to back out a second. Look at Coling, he's in onto Patchouli, and he manages to get the fault as well. Disaster for my project.
It's just crumbling. One card of the House of Cards falling after another. Although they do kind of just always come down all at once. That being said, Patchouli at least lives, right? It's a big disadvantage for them, and they're going to have a tough time holding mid here, but at least they can try to get an early force out of Blair, try to kite this Uber if it does come out. And the frag onto SNH is going to open things up a little bit, but they lose Jordy for it. Looking like Ray Kane, lots of damage onto the combo as well, but Blair, balls of steel, not popping, not going down for that one just yet. Varnu trying to maybe find some just offshoot frag here as well. They're still very aggressive for my project, and you gotta respect them for sticking it out this long, but eventually they just have to give up the ground. The heals are better, the numbers are better for the side of czuraci. They're gonna get that mid, and gonna have to just build up their own Uber here on second, and well, if czuraci are fast, they might just keep this moving forward. They still have a decent chunk of ad here, but I think it's slowing down ever so slightly, making it hard for them to really get the second for free now.
Yeah, they're a bit slightly too slow on the trigger. They're going to maybe look to push this anyway. They're in choke now, and they're sort of trying to get out, but there we go. It's Patchouli with 100% as well, and this now makes the fight so much harder here for czuraci. You can see they're just sort of forced out by the spam as well. They can't get in, and that means that for now, back on second, even Ubers. But it's on second this time, it's not last. Very different.
Change the scenery. It's something new. Yeah, you get to see something new every once in a while, and
there's a big maybe ramp. I think a soldier could like bomb through that and it'd be high, like process. It's so cool. Dude, imagine. Okay, here's the script. I'm writing it for you right now. Coling takes like 500. He does a cool skip jump through choke somehow, goes in, lands on Patchouli's face, shoots him up in the air, and hits a -48. Drops the medic. Thoughts?
It's I can see it. It's feasible. Or he tries to go through that choke point and gets mulched by 3 people simultaneously.
Yep.
I think both are about equally as likely. That being said, looks like Breeze might be opening things up here a little bit, and actually the rest of the combo just kind of pushing through choke instead. Lucas eats a lot of damage as well, but they did a lot of damage in return. Jordy almost dead, just narrowly living by a hair, and it looks like that little bit of aggression caught my project off guard ever so slightly. And still, it's not going to be enough to mount any sort of push, and Lucas just being the tip of the spear here, seeing what he can get done in that choke point, seeing what he can do here as ALX obviously tries to make sure nobody gets through there unattended, but it's a bit of a spammy fest stalemate here. Now, if you're going to whip out the sniper, I feel like this might be a better point to try it on. You might get some crazier crazier sidelines if you really tried, but obviously it's going to be calling and SNH falling instead on the flank. That opens things up a little bit here for the side of my project. Lucas is trying his absolute best to shut them down immediately. Lots of damage, huge, huge amounts. Jordy going down. They eventually get the Uber forced out anyway, though. It's a bit better for Patchouli as he responds of his own, and looks like czuraci are going to be on the back foot off the back of that, although they still have a soldier in behind as well. Breeze being a bit of a thorn inside of my project here, just fighting on second, pulling back a couple of players, and actually
this is really nice.
pulling enough aggression. Yeah, Patchouli goes down.
Just has to back out there as well, but it's such a nice play there from Breeze. He's already in an honorable 1v1 with Kane, just dragging him back, as you're saying. And then, unfortunately, Jordy has to follow that up as well. And that means that now it's KN on a suicide mission to try and get in onto Blair. It's a decent fast rocket, but the surf is so nice. Blair! 7 HP, just barely living, and you can see Jordy, the spam rockets from a mile away, not finding it, cleaned up as well. And I think now czuraci have a big advantage to work with, 50% Uber charge. You can see them already edging in onto last, not letting this gun get any more troublesome than it already is.
I've been like doubtful about maybe what Blair's experience in Prem and all that stuff would be, because I never seen him play. I don't know what this guy's gonna be up to, but he's proven to be quite a solid medic right now. He's certainly staying alive when he absolutely has no business doing so. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see how they now convert this push into last. It's a big Uber for the Czechs if they can actually make it stick, as they take it in as deep as they can. No frags found just yet. Varnu goes dangerously low, but the heavy does stay alive for the time being. They only found essentially a little bit of cap time as well. Sticky's are cleared off, but now that the Ubers are faded and players are falling for the Czechs, it's slowly but surely falling apart. They do get a couple of frags actually in response. Never mind, Misha is in on a cleanup with SNH as well. It's a couple of players to defend against one scout. It's good enough for now, but the respawners are going to be faster for the Czech side, and if they don't get out onto second here, maybe even with this Uber, Patchouli does have, it's going to be looking a bit dicey for my project. I think they have to get the second cap. They have no choice.
It's so scary though, right? You can see Colin goes for the high bump, trying to sway that push coming in, and they're at least forcing them back a little bit for now, right? But this is such a massive play advantage. Breeze is just in there, in lobby, trying to get in onto the kill onto Jordy, but unfortunately not quite finding it, and that means that now the frag available as well, czuraci are nowhere near this second, but they're doing a decent job of stalling this out. Blair now 70%, and you can see it's a kill from Lucas onto the enemy Demoman as well. This push completely stunted for my project, and they're just stuck on second.
They feared too much. They respected the Czechs too much. They didn't want to get onto second sooner and couldn't convert anything of that momentum they had. Now they find themselves back on the back foot again, getting pincered already with Soldier in behind. There goes KN, taken down. They're in the alleyway. There's another scout taken care of as well. They've only traded out Breeze for him, and Varnu looks pretty dangerous as well. Okay, Jordy, saving it perhaps, getting the Uber force out. Patchouli also going dangerously low before getting forced himself. It's still a better Uber for the side of my project, but the players are not there. They're not going to be able to defend this last at all. Even if the Ubers are out of the equation, the spawners are just now coming in, and they're already shut down again. There's Jordy and Varnu down, and there you go. Just a sheer player advantage eventually rounds it out.
And it's Patchouli falling down so low before he pops that Uber, right? Means that he has to play it so scared post Uber. And there's just no positioning at all. Because he's so low, he has to back off. And that means that czuraci can get all their players in. They have a bit of an advantage. They manage to squeeze it out to get that second round onto the board. Now it's only 5.5 minutes left, Cerny. With a round up like this on a map as slow as this, this is pretty scary stuff here for my project, who must be going into this thinking that they're a bit of a favorite. If you're losing like this is one for the mental.
Certainly, and there's some tilters on that team, so you could say. So we'll have to see how that affects them in the long term, right? And it's another mid fight that's going a little bit slowly for them, right? They were looking a lot more successful when they moved quickly on these mids. They lose AF early as well. It's only getting worse by the minute. Patchouli dangerously low as well, in the range of a single rocket killing them. So the positioning is gone. It's shot immediately. It's not a shambolic mid by any means, but at the end of the day, they still have to give it up nonetheless and hold second instead. And when you're down around, being on the back foot like this already is it just compounds, right? It just snowballs a little bit ever so slightly, and it's not going to get any better for them anytime soon. That being said, they have to take the initiative. My project, the ball's in their court. They have to do something here if they want to keep themselves on this map.
Not just sitting on second, right? Like, you could just stall this out forever, and it's kind of completely fine, right? Like, the round timer is basically equal to the map timer. There's only 10 seconds left if you run this out. And so, honestly, now, at this point, as much as it is sort of czuraci looking to aggress into second, the ball is very, very much in my project's court, and it starts off quite terribly, as Jordy wants to go in for a sack, but just Lucas's stickies are already there all over him. That's the aggression shut down for now. 4 minutes left. for my project to try and just find something, right?
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Well, they gotta figure something out here, right? I feel like they've just been kind of lost a little bit on parts of this map so far. Not really knowing where things could be coming from at all times, and getting caught out by a lot of plays that they shouldn't be caught out by. AF again trying to push, immediately gets punished for his insolence, just shut down, smoked down by another sticky trap, and czuraci just locking down this mid, just making sure nobody gets out, nobody goes where they can possibly go. And I mean, they gotta find something. Maybe AF's gonna off-class, maybe a spy play is a saving grace here, maybe something like that, right? But you gotta figure something out. You got 3.5 minutes, you're not gonna have the luxury of overtime, and yeah, you just gotta go. So they're just gonna use that Uber straight through, see what they can do with it, maybe find some sort of frags at the very least. It's pretty bad Uber all across the board. They trade out a soldier for a soldier, lose Patchouli as well. It's crumbling as we speak, as Blair is found under no pressure whatsoever. The best they got out of this was a change. Never mind, what am I saying? Varno is just... Why is Blair just in no man's land? What happened?
They were aggressing forwards, right? Because they get that meta kill, so they're looking to push in onto the enemy team, but in the meantime, they let the flank completely slip on the side of czuraci there. Only saving grace is that late kill post-Uber onto Patchouli as well, but it's just KN and AF in behind, shutting the enemy team down, and they're just unable to deal with it. They're in a horrible position, sat in sort of the low ground of choke on that second place, on the second point rather, right? And now, stuck on last. This is, however, only about 10-20 ad for Patchouli. But you can see, look at how aggressive my team are being. They're going in through this alleyway. They may be looking to get some very, very early aggression in.
Hey, they're keen. They want to see what they can do. Maybe get that sentry down. Big pencil bomb by Jordy and KN to get it spammed down. That's a strategy nobody's really tried until now. I mean, it works on this map, I suppose. And it gets the sentry out of the equation. It opens up the defense a little bit. It allows them to maybe send a bomb in or something, right? And you want to get that Uber out of the equation. You know that you don't have a huge ad to work with, but maybe they're just going to go for the exchange, which is what they're going to do. ALX bombing in deep right away. Unfortunately, not finding any frags. The sentry's going to be the only thing to fall. A lot of cap time put down already as Uber comes out for the checks, and that's a lot of cap time, actually. As they finally have the Uber fate on the other side, they can clean up a couple of players here for the side of my project, and it's going to be a stunted push for the time being. But they only killed 2, which means czuraci are going to have a hard time pushing out of it. And if they're not careful, a back cap could very well be afoot anytime soon as well. So they gotta still be careful. They still gotta sit back. It's not that easy.
It's 1:30, right? Yep. So they should basically never push out, bar a full wipe. They're just gonna sit here, especially with a point half cap. As you're saying, the threat of a back cap is so real, and so now it looks like to carry them over into golden cap territory, they're putting all their eggs into the Jordy spy basket. As he's gonna slowly be making his way forwards, I assume. Eventually, no. He's somewhere, surely. Yep, he's already in, actually.
Somewhere. Oh, okay.
There he is.
Yeah,
Have to shuffle through. Find him.
I see him. He's just chilling there. And fortunately, he's on the cloak and dagger, so you can just take his time. That being said, he doesn't really have the ability to take his time. They've got less than a minute, so this stab has to stick. This stab has to be the one, and the Uber already got used on the side of my project as well. So now's the time, buddy. You gotta make something happen.
It's such a nice bomb there from Breeze as well, and now the snap coming from Jordy, and he does get the stab onto Blair. This is now a door opened, and you just kind of have to take it. 30 seconds left means that Misha now only has a limited 280 HP to keep this point alive, but they're going to wait. They're going to wait for Patchouli to come in. There's no positioning here for my project at all, and now the countdown really starts to tick, right? Look at how far back they are. And the counter now says 20 seconds for the map time to end. We do not go into overtime here. When this goes to 0, the round ends, no matter the cap time, onto the point. And that means you have to shove it in. You have to shove it so fast. But it's giving Blair enough time to come up. This is no one with an Uber charge. KN Vanu already down to half HP. They're killing the gun. Once again, as Jordy go floating around on this backpack. And they actually do get it. Just barely, not in time. They all swarm the point, but they just defend it. And there we go. Nail biter at the end, but czuraci taking that first map. All 3 points.
Couldn't get to the point time. Just didn't commit to it quickly enough. A bit lethargic. Even ambitious, Patchouli switching to the crits at the end. Maybe they were hoping that somehow that would come into play, but just wasn't the time. They just didn't have enough time. It comes down to that, and it's going to be 2-1. The way of the checks. Perhaps not the outcome you would have expected looking at the players on each team. Not necessarily would have expected that a team of the caliber necessarily of my project would struggle this much, but perhaps that's why they're playing Sultry. Perhaps this is practice, right? Perhaps they're getting ready for having to maybe play this map again, maybe want to get some feelings for it and stuff like that. This wasn't maybe their strongest map, and Lord do I know what the second one is going to be.
Gonna be Bagel. We're playing Bagel.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what to expect. But let's talk about this map a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That was, like, ultimately, the scoreline, like, that almost ended in a 2-2, and it really felt like in my head, like it was a 3-1, right? Like, as much as, like, my project, like, almost clawed it back at the end, like, they really weren't in control for most of that game. It was so much czuraci coming in every single time that it looked like my project sort of got a big advantage. It was just a counterplay immediately, and Patchouli just had such a difficult time on that map. And Lucas, I mean, what is there to say? This guy just absolutely destroyed the enemy team. You just see the way czuraci just are able to take so much space, because this guy is doing so much damage across on everyone. There's so much pressure when you're playing against this team, and it's very difficult to deal with. Unfortunately, my project not there, but I mean, we have some logs to put on your screen. Not easy with a classic clinic 13 and 16, 162 DPM, delivering on impact and vibes.
Hey man, but look, man, it wasn't even Lucas doing the most damage. SNH was actually just laying down the hammer as well. As you were saying, it's SNH and Lucas again at the spear of that team, and at least in terms of damage, in terms of frags, they are doing a lot of heavy lifting, and apparently they're enough to outclass like 4 other players, right? That's saying quite a lot. Like Jordy putting in his best work. That's just a roamer stat line at the end of the day, 16 and 28, but still like a lot of damage, right? It's just, you can see like SNH, Lucas being on top, putting in the work for their team, right? Everybody else trotting along, doing a decent job. At the end of the day, I'm quite impressed with Blair as well, though. Like, considering the, like, you know, level of meta that Patchouli is, like, Patchouli's got a lot of experience, right? Blair, not as much experience at this top level. He's hanging. He's hanging. So I think that's noteworthy, honestly. I don't know. Perhaps it's just because they're getting carried anyway by SNH and Lucas, but still, you know. Who knows? Maybe pure DM is gonna matter more on Bagel instead, right? Maybe that's where they win on the side of my project, because they're the DM gamers, so I guess that's gonna make the difference.
I think it's the story of, like, I think individually, like, the 2 best players on the server, as you were saying, is Lucas and SNH, right? Like, clearly seeming to be ahead of basically everyone else. But then, like, I also think there is a bit of a drop-off, like, mechanically, of, like, every other player, right? Like, I think, like, the KN and Jordy Soldier duo should be absolutely diffing Coling and Breeze, but they're really not. Like, you're shouting out Blair as well, who did play very, very well, also played very well the other day against Aragosta. But on top of that, I also just... Breeze was having an excellent game on Sultry, really managing to find excellent bombs, getting in, having huge impact when you manage to get in behind, being a nuisance, and yeah. It's going to be interesting though, right? Like, okay, Bagel's a weird map. We played it a little bit, but like, I think now, from what I've seen when czuraci play, on a map like Bagel, which is mostly how well can you play around your demo force field, where czuraci are demonstrating their ability to do this very well. We need a KN and Jordy masterclass here to come in and stop this from being a czuraci 6-0, in my opinion.
It's interesting as well, because I've just now noticed they got rid of the nipple on Bagel. Sir, the nipple is gone on Bagel. They got rid of it. It's flat now. The point is flat. There's nothing in the middle anymore.
This is a feature of the map. It comes up when the round starts. So when we're in DM.
I didn't know that was changed.
DM. Like, as you can see, Vanu is currently standing on thin air as well, in the middle of the point.
Oh, right.
And that's just because it does this. And
sorry, that's
pre-game
DM. It got
me as well.
It shows I don't play this damn game anymore, huh? God damn it. Caught out by my insolence.
Caster, no clue what he's talking about. At him in the chat. Tell at Sunny, you are dumb.
Damn it. Anyway, I mean, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be down to Kayan and Jordy finally finding the grounds they need to, finally getting away with what they need to, right? They should, as you say, be diffing Breeze and Coling, and we'll see if they can pull that off here, but we'll also have to see if they can match up to SNH, because SNH, even though Varno and Af are both really solid scouts, he's destroying. He's running rampant, and if there's a map where scouts run rampant, it's going to be King of the Hill, so I guess we'll have to see how well this is going to go, as the first fight is obviously going to be unfolding before our very eyes. Not much to write home about when teams are kind of just waiting for the point to unlock, getting some pressure across the point, all that usual stuff. That's how KOF opens. It's going to be down to the first little bit of cap time being put down by the checks here but it's not going to be a point capped off just yet. And no players falling, no bombs going across just yet either. Team's taking it really slow, but Patchouli and ALX eating a lot of damage means my project going to have to be a little bit more careful here, a little bit slower. And perhaps that's enough to get the checks, at least the cap converted, as ALX is so aggressive, so far forward, really wants to get some damage down here. That's a lot of damage to Blair, matter of fact, and he's still not going to pop. He's still going to hang in there, going to keep that alive, and you know what? I think everybody lives. Nobody died at all yet so far. Nothing's happened. They just capped the points off. And now it's going to be the Czechs trying to get their pressure on. Both teams have their Ubers as well. Looks like AF is going to try to finally take it forward. As he goes in for this exchange, Blair's going to counter pop. A lot better for the Czechs here on the side of their Uber. Not much flashing going on either. So it's going to be about equal positioning, but the Czechs now have the point. It's an endless back and forth. Nobody's dying. I don't think anybody's died yet this entire round.
It's so much damage there by ALX, dealt actually everyone on that blue combo, dropping super low. And now with Jordy finding a kill onto Coling on the flank as well means that now it is so difficult for czuraci to really actually get in onto this point at all. ALX has uncontested control of it, and that just gives him the superior spam angle onto the point as Lucas has to play far back, and every time he steps up, he instantly drops down to half HP. So now forced to back off as well. The team's regrouping. Even Uber's still, right? But you can see how this map has changed, and we've morphed from your traditional Viaduct gameplay. Now, Bagel is a map where both teams sit behind point, tank their demo, and hope that they can do a lot of damage to the other team. And then you wait for your soldiers on the flank to come in and win a fight on the house, and then you go forwards. But for now, it's Lucas now doing a lot of damage. Look at how low Patchouli is. Has to back off. Round is the point is finally captured by the enemy team.
Yeah, Patchouli eating a lot of damage here, but still living anyway, and well, the Ubers are in place, so worst case, they can just take it across, but positioning a little bit better now for czuraci as well means they're going to be holding that point for the time being. It's going to be down to ALX and his soldiers to maybe do something, or maybe AF is just going to take the Uber across again as it worked before, but he's beefing every shot of the Blair. It doesn't matter because ALX is there for the cleanup anyway, and Blair drops the Uber, so that's out of the equation. Now the rest of czuraci are going to be scrambling like rats, scattering, seeing what they can get done. At least they trade out Breeze for Varnu eventually, but that's probably all they're going to get unless SNH can go huge here. Gets one frag onto Jord. That's going to be not going to be able to go in any further, and it's going to be a point cap for my project again.
Yeah, unfortunately for czuraci, the trend of as soon as Blair drops, Patchouli drops as well, does not continue onto map number 2. And that gives now my project a big advantage here as they have so many more players to work with. As we come in, it's Lucas shot up into the skies. Unfortunately, KN not hitting his trademark air shot, shut down. It's a very big aggression coming onto Lucas, who now can just get healed up. And with Varnu losing that 1v1 in onto House as well, everyone on my project is jumping down super low, gifting the cap over. This is going to be a very slow spawn timer here for KN, who is going to finally come up, but it is now czuraci with much better positioning, unlocking the map for Lucas.
They don't have that Uber though. Patchouli already has, and it's only 20%, but it's still enough to give my project the confidence to try and take this a little bit further forward. That being said, Patchouli already eats a lot of damage as well. One stray rocket, one stray stick, he could end his whole career. That being said, they do get the Uber across. Blair just about gets as Lucas gets picked off before the Uber can be popped, but it's still going to be so much better enough for the Czechs, and they catch Jordy out immediately, they catch Patchouli as well. Af just kind of watching as his team dies before his eyes. There goes KN, 2 scouts now, just focused on taking down SNH before they finally get to recoalesce, but it's the point of control for the Czech team. Timers are equal as well, and it's going to be a bit of an Uber ad to work with here for the Czech team, as Blair's going to have about 20% of Patchouli. Not a lot, but in KOF that can matter quite a bit when you get a lot of aggression across the point very quickly. And because you can hide behind that point, right? You can catch people off guard very easily if you're not being spotted right away. So quick exchange, you could very well spin things in the different direction again, even if my project capped the point now. And Blair's a little low as well. If czuraci can keep this ad, which they're slowly losing, maybe they can get it back immediately. You know, they're still going to recap it anyway. Just waiting a little bit. I guess they're getting blocked. Fair enough. It's
bit of a weird fight though, right? Like, okay, yeah. Now Blair has the Uber to work with, but it's yeah, as you're saying, it's such a minuscule advantage, right? czuraci just kind of posture on this point. The round capture times aren't even for the moment, but we're just kind of waiting. But it's so scary for Patchouli to walk up every time. You can see the immediate pressure that comes onto him, right? Instantly, there's like 4 people shooting at him the second he crosses that line of that sort of flank area. As now it's Jordy finding a kill onto Coling in that house. It means that SNH is going to barrel forwards in, get that force coming across, and ALX not in this fight as well. There's an even scout trade with both teams just kind of walking back honorably, as now it's Jordy being found by Breeze in-house. we are finally getting that cap, maybe just barely. It's onto the point that they do get the cap time, but that means that now Jordy's going to spawn so much later, and czuraci can aggress because there's a lot of damage onto Vanu as well.
Yeah, and Kayan as a Soul Soldier isn't going to be able to do much against all that aggression as well. Has to back off, and it's just no ground here for my project. It's Af trying to hold down the point by himself. Arnu's there to back him up a little bit as ALX just gets healed up again as well, and they're still holding on to this. czuraci aren't being aggressive enough. Blair eating a lot of damage again. Has to back out of the fight for the time being, or at the very least be careful not to eat any more spam as Lucas gets juggled around. And it's Jordy dangerously low again on the other side as well. Still living though. They're just peeking and prodding these teams, pushing each other. It's just how much they're comfortable with, but not quite getting the frags either side. And it's going to get down to another Uber exchange. The timers are still equal. The Ubers are equal. It's going to be equal Ubers as well in this exchange. Not much flashing going on. Colin gets caught out by Af as the rest of the Czech team tries to retreat. SNH maybe trying to work wonders here, but they eventually catch him out as well. There goes Nation. And it's looking like my project might have this one secured now.
Yeah, that is just them winning the decisive fight at the end. It crumbles at the last second for the side of czuraci. They made it so close for so long, but in the end, the DM comes out. And I think, thankfully, for the side of my project, it feels like Af has woken up a little bit. He was a bit quiet on map number 1, but this time around, he's being a bit louder. It's definitely felt. This is a lot of damage dealt. A bit hard in the end for czuraci to really follow up.
Still very, very close for them, though. I mean, the timers went down to 20 seconds either side at one point, right? So, no can say that they're getting dominated on this whatsoever. They're definitely in this, and the fight going slightly differently would have twisted it in their favor once more. So, anybody's game, very, very much so a comeback in the cards for czuraci. One round is not much to write home about just yet, and we'll have to see if my project can keep up this momentum on a Bagel here. He's already sitting in the flank, in deep behind KN and his scout buddy in very, very deep on that left side of the map. And that's going to be enough to just get the point in my project's hands very, very quickly, as all of these checks are just kind of stored up on that concrete ground there. Jordy gets taken down, and it's going to open things up a little bit for them again, but KN going low as well, actually. They might be able to put down some point pressure, get across the other side. There goes Nation, though, taken care of, and it's going to be down to the Ubers. Blair just about gets as well, has to use a little bit just as a response. It's a solo on Af. It's a big flash on the other side, so they're gonna fade at the same time, and the point might just flip, but it's 30 seconds down for my project, and they might look like they have a good chance of retaking it anyway, given the positioning. And Blair goes down, and Lucas
in on the flank.
Okay, alright.
Just eliminate the whole combo there. That was insane. From Vanu coming in. He's a bit lower on the scoreboard, but that is just massive, massive impact onto Blair, onto Lucas, and that completely shuts down czuraci. And they take so long to cap this as well because it's just going to delay the spawn timer forever. And now Patchouli, massive, massive advantage there. Already at 70%, right? And look at how far back they've been shoved as well. There's a bit of a forward hold being set up by my project.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna try to do it, this is the site to do it on, and czuraci have their entire team there so to try and bust this forward hole as best they can, but you're not getting through, buddy. Breeze is getting shut down immediately. Coling also not getting much ground out. At least they pushed him back a little bit, and there's a lot of damage onto a lot of my project players there, but Lucas went down in the exchange as well, in the little scuffle, and they're just not being able to get that through just yet. Blair's gonna have to wait on that Uber, and this forward hold has worked magnificently so far for my project. They've burnt off a lot of time on that clock already, and it's going to be on the checks to try and figure out how to get out of this. Ideally without using the Uber. If they do, then it should be a favorable exchange as they send in both soldiers again. Coling already dangerously low. Matter of fact, gets taken down, but it is enough to bust the forward hold. It is enough to get them out of there. As Varn and Jordy both go down. Af also dangerously low. KN having to heal up, as is ALX. That's a lot of damage on a lot of players, and it's enough to get the Uber out finally. Blair's going to respond with his own eventually, or is he going to drop Lucas? Maybe he doesn't even have to. Af is not quite hitting the shots right now. Okay, he doesn't have to use.
Oh,
all
but
right,
look at the back line. It's Nation and SNH on the back line, just coming in, cleaning up everyone else, while Blair just expertly dodges backwards and forwards. Af, unfortunately, just not quite finding the shots, and that means that now, czuraci, massive advantage, and they have to run down the round timer here a little bit. They're down a minute, as it took them so long to break that stalemate, but what a decisive fight, and Blair just not respecting Af at all coming in as well.
Yeah, at that time around it was well placed, and They're very confident medic in his team trying to keep that Uber alive, and it worked that time around. KN tries to get in, just gets shut down on the point. I've done a lot of cap time already though for my project. They found 2 frags as well as the Uber gotten out of the Czech side here, with the point flipping as well. Now it's going to be on Lucas trying to chase anything as Blair's left completely alone in no man's land. Will he be able to avoid Jordy though? Oh, just for the time being, and you know what? They find Alex, they find Varno in the backlines. They still keep this, at least positioning-wise, in their hands, and with Blair living as well, it's not going to be a huge disat. Sure, Patchouli has about 50% on him, but it's not going to matter all that much at the end of the day if they can still keep people shut down like this. They're just stragglers, you know, walking in one by one like this, and if they can keep Patchouli at bay for a while longer, that Uber might not even come into play at all. That being said, it looks like they will have to back off here sooner than they'd like, because that forward hold is not getting mounted fast enough for the Czech side, and timer is still very much not in their favor either, so things aren't looking all that peachy for them. That's both soldiers going dangerously low. They still don't have any Uber to write home about. They need this Uber out of the equation, and it does get used. Now they just gotta kite it as best they can, and they're doing a great job already. They're so far back. AF might catch a few here, but Jordy and Varno are already down on the flank side, and AF isn't even able to find any frags. They do get Lucas eventually cleaned up, but truly dies regardless. It's a wipe, matter of fact. Almost a wipe. It's just AF left alive, trying his damnedest, and he gets cleaned up as well.
Yes, it's such a... You can see exactly what the idea is, right? They have a massive advantage, but czuraci do such a good job of backing off. They win the fight in the flank on house again, and unfortunately for that, that means that once the Uber fades, it's 2 down, and the fight just disadvantageous like crazy for my project, who have no positioning there anymore, right? Now, they're also staring down the barrel of a massive Uber advantage. It's Jordy found once again onto the house. They might just get the cap time here, but this is not going to work in their favor, because it's going to give Jordy such a long respawn timer, and he's going to have to wait forever until he can come in, but Alex is in, gets the kill onto Lucas as he combines with Vanu, but the cleanup comes in now. Patchouli backing all the way onto spawn as SNH fancies himself. Bit of French boy, but unfortunately can't find it, and now timer's effectively even, right? We're holding off the cap just until everyone spawns. That way everyone is up, right? And this is Patchouli, massive advantage in check.
Yeah, they got
czuraci, they're going to have to do the exact same thing they just did once again.
It's an even bigger ad this time around, though, so they have to do it even better than they did last time around. The difference is this time their timer is in their favor. They're not just in control of the point, but the timer's also in their favor. There's not a lot of time to play with for my project here. They actually have to get this converted pretty quickly and just play in the cap for the time being instead. It's probably the smarter play, trying to make sure that that clock isn't going to be too much of a hassle to work with, or at least you get yourself a little bit of overtime as they're finding the fraggle to Breeze, straight out for Jordy on the other side though, which is a lot better for the Czechs here as well. Now with the point of their control, KN dies as well, can't escape. They trade him out for Coling though, so it's still kind of staying a little bit equal, but Jordy's timer is so long, as is KN's. They're not going to be in this fight for so long. They do find Nation, but it's still looking a lot better for the Czechs here as they try to re-aggress. They get the Ubers out of the equation as well. It's a better Uber for my project. And SNH is going to have to try and escape with his medic here, who's just going behind instead with Lucas. No, how are they? What is going on?
Dude, Blair combines with Breeze, who's in on a flank, but Blair is just in no man's land, so he has to run in behind and escape through the enemy lobby, and he just manages to recombine with Breeze, who finds a 2k, and now it's Nation in on the point, but truly cleaned up. There's no time left for my project. It's only Jordy and AF left alive, and it's AF with a nice little one-tap in onto SNH, but taken down by the stickies of Lucas. This is very low health bars, but Jordy just not there in time, and now the round timer is just going to take out Vanu, not there in time, as we tie it up once again, going all the way. But it is czuraci coming out on top once again.
Clinching it out. Just about. It's a lot closer than the last round. I mean, like, you know, by a factor of 75% if you're going by that, I suppose. But yeah, they do clinch it out. It's 1-1 now. Still a couple of rounds to go. Either team wants to win this, and czuraci showing they're still in this. They're not giving us up just yet. They certainly got what it takes, and it's going to be down to the next, until mid-fight here. The next little bit of spam exchange across the point, seeing who wants to be aggressive. Maybe an early bomb out of either side. Could switch things up a little bit. Who knows what they have in store for either team here, but it looks like they're just being passive again, doing it the usual way. Breeze eats a lot of damage on one of the sides, and even pay with his life. Doesn't quite. Will live. Eventually does get taken out anyway, never mind, but that might open things up for my project as they're already on the cap as well. They've swarmed the point, they got it in their control, they lose Varnu for it, but find SNH and Lucas as well. Lots of damage onto Blair too, and there goes Coling, so they do manage to push out these checks. They do maybe even get a chance, not quite to forward hold. I think Kane isn't going to be up in time, but they might still be ambitious anyway.
Such a nice mid there from KN, who just manages to make everything work. Wins the 1v1 with Breeze, and then follows up with a beautiful bomb in onto lobby as well, shutting down czuraci. And that means that now they're on a bit of a back foot. It is even Ubers though, and you can see them re-aggressing, but it is Jordy traded for Nation right away. So Uber comes in onto AF here and SNH, but Bled, once again, milking for that life.
It's working. It's worked out beautifully. SNH now has a patchouli straight fed to him on a silver platter. Varnu cleaned up as well. It's only AF, KN, and ALX left with no heals, and while KN is behind, could be a bit of a nuisance in the backlands. They know he's there. They already gotten people hunting for him. They already got people on the point as well. KN is kind of just biding for time here. That's a lot of damage, but he just doesn't get the kill. It's very unfortunate. Buff Scout is simply gonna live that one, and it's gonna be enough to get that point cap time eventually. Although AF is still blocking it. They still haven't capped the point. They still killed Jordy on the other side though. And they're just playing it slow, I suppose. They really want these respawn timers. Now Lucas going down, though. That's gonna maybe make this a little bit tougher, actually. They don't really have the damage necessarily, the numbers anymore. To test this point, it took so long to cap it, and now they're still not going to be able to convert it as easily. Unless ALX has to go down. Okay, SNH finds that one. Lucas is going to be back in the fight in no time. So it actually worked out in the end.
It's a weird fight though, right? Like, now it's massive advantage here, Sunny, for the side of czuraci. They just chill on the point, they got the round captured, but they have to run down the timer once again. Already down a minute, 15 seconds. That means that they just have to start eking out this time. And it starts by doing exactly what they're doing right now, of just spamming, making it as possible, right, for my project to come across onto this point. As now it's AF leading the charge, but he eats so much damage, the Uber just has to come out of patchouli as they're sending it in, but Blair once again milking it for so much longer, and it's AF being left in behind on the flank as SNH is tracing in patchouli forwards, but there's no team to support him, but Coleman can come in onto the flank, find that kill onto the enemy medic. Now AF stuck in behind still. No one else really there from his team to support him, as he can just drag the enemy team back, but he's dealt with so fast, and ALX needs to come in, find some damage dealt, but everyone else is cleaned up, and SNH and Lucas combined for the entire enemy team.
SNH on a 6k right now. I did have a feeling, you know, it's a scout map, maybe that's gonna be the difference maker here as well, and SNH again just putting the team on his shoulders, just staying in their hidden unbelievable kill streaks, and they're going to be very fulfilled here. Jordy gets picked up by a sticky trap as well, making it before he even gets out of that lobby, before they can contest this. Sure, Coling dies in response on the other side, and they have to give up whatever forward positioning they had, but it doesn't matter. The timers are equalized now. Checks are back in the driver's seat just that easily, and, well, now they're in control. They get to control the pace of the game a little bit. They lost 2 players, to be fair, right? They're going to lose the point as well, assuredly, unless somehow my project completely beefed this, and you know what? They respect the Uber.
This is so scary. It's SNH falling as well. There's a really big play from Jordy in the backlines, and that means that now with Lucas falling, that Uber does absolutely nothing. Such a good job by Varnu and Jordy to get in behind, split the team, and that just allows them to regain control of this point. Now with the Uber, a complete misfire for czuraci. Patchouli now massive advantage to work with, but Breeze is hiding in-house. I think he might be looking to get a bit sneaky here. Get it onto patchouli and end this sort of advantage they have as soon as possible, right? But he is shut down, and that just opens the door for Coling to come in onto patchouli instead, and he just doesn't quite find the rocket. But Lucas is there as well. Follow-up, and that's a force coming out. You happily trade your whole team for that massive 70% advantage that Blair now has.
A classic sack wave on a cough map. You don't see him as often on Bagel as you do on Product, but it worked here nonetheless. And it's going to give the Czechs another great opportunity to re-aggress this point straight away. They just gotta get through this forward hold, and Coling is gonna be the sacrificial lamb. Breeze also gets mulched by the stickies though. The damage is just so much in that doorway, and they've thrown away this opportunity. Matter of fact, Lucas might just die as well. He does. They lose Nation as well. 4 players down, just trying to get out of that forward hold, and they're just not finding it. Now, with less than 30 seconds left on the clock, it's actually looking a bit dicey. A bit dire here as the Uber is coming up on patchouli. 80% back on that man's side, so it's slowly looking like there's a chance here actually for my project to hold onto this just as easily, as these Ubers are going to be exchanged in equal manners, and they bought themselves so much time with a forward hold. Now it's going to be on the Czechs to try and make this a miraculous push that works, as the Ubers are exchanged. The Soul Scout on both sides, not really finding much either way, as the Czechs have to back off. Their positioning ain't all that great. They still have to get the point capped off as well. Get the timer ticking down, and they're just not finding it right now. They do find the frags though. They find AF, they find Jordy as well. They stay in there. There goes Varnu. So they're going to be in control for a little bit, and they even have players chasing down the team in lobby here, as SNH goes very far forward to try and commit to that. Alex has him shut down, but it got dicey for a second.
It was a really nice idea by SNH to try and pinch in onto ALX, but they read him like a book. Unfortunately, that means that SNH has gone down. There's a lot of firepower missing for the re-aggression from my team, or my project rather, that can come right back in now. They just have to capture the point, and the round ends, and it's match point for the side of my project, who now have a KN just coming in uncontested from house there, and that means no one's on the point. They just stack all on it, get the capture. And there we go, it's map point there for the side of my project. We've come back. These rounds super, super close, but it feels like ultimately it is just my project able to just slightly outmaneuver czuraci.
Ever so slightly, but not over just yet. czuraci, you know, they lost the first round as well. They come back quite well from maybe being down a round. I guess we'll see how they approach this one. They can't afford themselves too many more missteps. They've been a bit hesitant, a bit tentative on these points from time to time, so we'll have to see how they try to approach this one as the usual spam across the point. Not much to write home about just yet, not much aggression, and usually with these Bagel mid-fights especially, it's going to be the first player that falls that seals it for their team dying, but it looks like this time around it's actually just going to be my project capping the point early and then losing all 3 of their players off the back of it, only finding Coling in response as the rest of the team is back up, and SH is already in behind as well in the enemy lines. Af trying his best to fight him off, does manage to at least escape with his life as well, but it's going to be the point flipping now for the Czechs, and only 15 seconds as it was in control for my project means that the Czechs actually looking pretty solid with being able to maybe hold this for a while.
Yeah, they're set up much better. The previous rounds have all started with them losing about a minute straight away to my team, and now they're set up with a bit of a forward hold. You can see how fast Jordy is just bombing in there. I think this might just be Breeze going down, but the bow from Blair saves his life, and that means that now he is still alive, but they've lost a lot of positioning here. And KN in behind as well means that all of czuraci have to just give up this forward hold, run all the way back, because KN in the backline is so scary here. Lucas down half HP as well, and this is not a good position for czuraci.
They're in dangerous territory to get Molch. They're going to try to go for this exchange instead as SNH takes it across eventually. Lots of milking out of Patchouli. SNH has just not got the ammo, not finding the shots he needs to, so it's going to be a lot later for the side of my project. Blair surfs the scattergun shot, escapes as well, lives for the time being as they clean up Lucas and Breeze and Coling. They find the frags eventually. They only lose Jordy. Okay, they lose KN as well, but Blair escaped. Blair lived. Just got out there somehow, riding the magic carpet. That's a great one.
It is unfortunately not that impactful, right? Because he escaped with 2% Uber charge. So the difference is minuscule.
It's 10% maybe. Hey, look, it can matter. It can matter. You never know.
I honestly think it's like 4%, to be honest, because he would have spawned, like, the enemy team capped a point, right? He had like a 5-second spawn timer there. It probably would have been identical whether or not he ran out, or if he just died with the rest of them. But that is a very early kill from Lucas onto ALX, and they're starting off this net fight very strong here.
That's a good pick to get, especially on this Bagel point. Unfortunately, you lose Blair to Jordy just bombing in anyway, and now you have to get across this point. Patchouli doesn't have yet. If you can get onto that medic, if you can get Af out of the way as well, that's a lot of damage onto both of them. There's SNH to clean up a kill, and there's Nation to follow up onto Patchouli as well. So it didn't matter that they lost Blair. It's a bit of a, it's a little bit of a black eye, I suppose, a blue eye. A little bit of a wound there, but at the end of the day, they're still going to be up regardless. It's still going to be equal, and more importantly, they still have control of the point. The timers are equal. They're in control. They get to, you know, position themselves however they like for this next fight that's going to be coming their way, and it's going to be on my project again to convert something here as they're slowly making their way forward onto their concrete side here, seeing what they can do on this slab with the Czechs being pretty passive for the most part.
I mean, they're just sitting back and letting the enemy come to them, right? And is Coling with the early kill into Jordy, traded by Af now, as Vanu gets very aggressive here with KN once again in on the back lines and finding that kill into SNH. This is the mid-hold completely broken, and it just starts on that flank. KN, so successful there.
They find one frag onto the soldier, and KN just immediately slips through. Is oiled up, he's just a torpedo. It's straight in as soon as that soldier's taken care of, and then it just crumbles from there, right? They get pincered straight away, and here we are. Now it's the Czechs back in control somehow, but they're still up on the timer, and they're doing a lot of work already. I mean, Jordy's down, they lose Coling again on their side, but so much aggression coming out of these Czechs suddenly. Lots of point pressure. They do get flanked, they gotta worry about that. Varnu does stay taking down, they find KN as well in the backside. They're being a bit cleaner on their flanks, even if the soldiers keep going down for it. Breeze gets taken down as well, for instance, but Uber's out of the equation here. It's a lot better for the side of czuraci as well. Av's gonna try to maybe just get something out of it, gets Misha at the very, very least, but gonna have to escape with the rest of his team eventually. There goes Patchouli as well. Coley finds that kill cleaned up eventually, and that's probably gonna be a pretty good situation to find yourself in now.
Yeah, this is really, really nice for czuraci, but look at the health bars. If they are quite low, Blair has a lot of work to do to keep his team alive. It is finding one kill to Breeze. It's A-OK ultimately for czuraci. Now timer still completely even, but look at KN. This is a hiding spot somehow. This is crazy. It's just kind of sitting, playing with the sightlines, and they are not aware that he's just right there. He can't do anything with the angle, to be honest. There's no one really there to support him at all. But it, team is back. Jordy instantly dying once again, but the follow-up bomb comes in from KN. Does manage to find two there with AF, but everyone else in house now falling, as that is a free Patchouli dropping so low to Nation. Kabomb in alongside Breeze now. They take down AF, they take down everyone, and they wrestle, maintain, and keep control at this point. And now big advantage for Blair as well. 30 seconds left. And this is my project. They have to reaggress and they have to find a successful Uber trade.
And this is the chance they have, the only chance they have, matter of fact. Patchouli still doesn't have either, so they're just bleeding time ever so slightly. It's all valuable, and they got to get that positioning as soon as possible. Eventually, though, they're going to get it. Czech team not particularly keen on being too aggressive either. They know that they have this in the bag if they can just win this fight as the Uber comes across. Patchouli eats a lot before finally using himself, so it's going to be a slightly better Uber for the side of my project, but they've also dropped Jordy out of it. Alex just barely connects with the beam before getting a lot of meat shots onto him, and there goes Lucas, there goes SNH. There goes Coling as well as Misha, so the team is crumbling. They're actually finding the frags they need to. Blair probably just about escaping, but it's going to be 50 seconds on the timer here for my project, and it's going to be an entire Czech team trying to come back into this as best as they possibly can, because the tides have turned very quickly.
This is 45 seconds with a forward hold and an Uber advantage as well. 30% in for Patchouli means that this is a czuraci that have to be super aggressive. But Vanu already alongside Jordy in that house, trying to keep it up, but that is Jordy completely busted out. And now with a counter kill onto Coling's not the end of the world, but this is a messy fight on both sides. But it is just my project, they're winning it. But now, Nation falling in house, and that means that with 20 seconds left, I'm not even sure if Lucas can afford to stay back here. Blair is only 50%, Patchouli just barely getting his Uber. And Breeze is in Narnia, so far back, gets cleaned up by Jordy, and this is not a good situation here. 8 seconds left on the timer. czuraci forced to get onto this point here. All they need is a cap as the Uber comes out onto AF here, but it is Lucas falling. No one is there on the point. The round timer runs out, and in the end, despite 4 very, very close rounds, that is my project, walking away with 3 points. And this is a tie official.
Yeah. One map going either way, perhaps not what either team necessarily expected. czuraci probably feeling themselves a little bit after winning the first map, right? Feeling that they could have a chance to take down the team. But my project, well, finding their groove a little bit on Bagel in response. Map going either side of the teams and showing ourselves, yeah, this was an evenly matched match. We were right to assume that this would be a good one. We were right to make that prediction, and here you go. So, I don't know what the implications are for the season, and honestly, I don't think I necessarily care that much, because it's only 2 teams that aren't making the playoffs, and realistically, we already know which one of them is going to be won.
Bit rude.
Look, okay, it's not supposed to come off as that rude, but...
czuraci can still win. Here's how.
I mean, no, they're fine. They won last week, right?
Yeah.
They're doing pretty good in their season.
Dude, yeah. I don't know. Okay, here are the main takeaways from this game. Dude, SNH was cranking. Look at his stats. I don't know if we can pull up the logs, Stu. Get those on your screen. Look at those scout damage numbers. Wow, they are big. Lucas having a bit of a quiet one. Actually, ultimately... Yeah. Kind of falling to ALX a little bit. I'm surprised, but SNH, you can just see, really, the reason why this game was so close, I think, for a lot of it, was okay. Until Stu does otherwise, I can start audio logging you guys, give you guys a bit of an audiobook experience. So at the logs, if you sort by damage per minute, at the top, you can see SNH, 32 frags, 14 assists, 13 deaths, 11,805 damage dealt, which equates to 441 damage per minute with a 2.5 KD. Wowee.
Though, to be fair, on the other side, AF is not far behind.
No.
He's also sitting on 28 kills, 12 deaths, 401 DPM, KD of 3.2. Like he's close
trying?
behind. It's not a big difference, right? It's not a huge deficit. They were both really turning up on this map specifically, finding a lot of damage, a lot of cleanup, a lot of kills for either team here. And I mean, yeah, I think it's just it's the same as last map, right? This time around, it was like SNH as the one player really trying to put the team on his shoulders. Unfortunately, though, he couldn't out damage 4 players this time.
You want to know something funny? SNH has 18 soldier frags.
that's more than half his kills. That's impressive.
Farming soldiers. Oh, that's so beast, actually. I really like that a lot.
I respect it. Though, to be fair, he's also got 2 medic frags and AF has 0, so honestly, who's the real noob here? Who's the real one? But yeah, I mean, it shows, right? Like, comprehensively, my project just on top of this map. czuraci just not really finding much, especially the soldiers getting shut down a lot. Like, yeah, Coling and Breeze, they had occasional bombs in that accomplished stuff, but for the most part, they were really quite quiet. Obviously, Nation not really getting much done, at least in comparison to his scout buddy, right? I feel like he just kind of leaves all the glory to SNH. He's a bit quieter as well, and Lucas having a quieter match as well. I mean, still basically like on par with ALX, not far behind, but it shows, right? The as soon as my project is a little bit more on the ball, they're a little bit more cohesive. They outperform this czuraci team, who really only have like 2 outstanding players and then 4 solid players, but on the same level as my project.
It's going to be interesting though, right? Because my project, they have sort of the biggest test of the season coming up like tomorrow, where they are playing against Anandam, who are looking, at least for me, right, the heavy favorites for the whole season, right? We're gonna need to. I think if they're gonna take it to Anandam, they're gonna. Okay? Do you ever have like a quote unquote fun season and then your scouts are Pandemic and Boulder? It's just a chill season. We're not really trying. We're off-bossing, so you're going to put Pandemic on Boulder in the same scout combo?
Can you be blamed for the fact that it might be a fun season, but the 2 best scouts we have in EU are still playing? Like, they gotta be on a team somewhere. They gotta play somewhere if they're still playing.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna add to that. I think you're gonna live by that opinion, and I will say nothing. And I think that's a beautiful way to end off the evening as well. So, guys, there is a big essential streak. I think you're hitting cast number 4, 4th day in a row. I won't be there tomorrow because I have to play World of Warcraft. But Sunny will be,
perhaps,
alongside someone. Has that been scheduled yet? Do we know who you're casting with?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so if we find a caster, there will be a cast tomorrow. Because I don't think JMax would let you solo cast.
It might be JMax, who knows?
It might be JMax Chill on the cast. Wouldn't you guys like to see that? But yeah, this has been Wandom and Sunny. Stu is also still here. Shout out to Sunny. And Stu. Shout out to Stu. That's what I wanted to say. We're gonna go now. I'm gonna go make dinner. Bye.
See ya.